Donald Trump has until tomorrow to pay a $454 million bond in his new civil fraud case. But as he vows to fight it all the way to the Supreme Court, his social media platform, Truth Social, could help him master the art of the deal and obtain billions more as it sets to go public. Fox Business senior correspondent Charles Gasparino joins us now. Hey, Charlie, good morning to you. Big day tomorrow. How do you expect tomorrow to play out? What, if anything, do you expect to happen on Monday?
I have to admit, I have no idea. I mean, there's several things that could happen. I mean, he says he's got some cash now, but he doesn't want to use it. I mean, that could happen. He's got, I think he put out on Truth Social, he has $500 million in cash, but he doesn't want to use it. He wants to spend it on the campaign. So that's a possibility. It's a possibility Tish James backs off and says, I'm not going to be a big real estate holder. I mean, this is like one of the weird things about this. Tish James is no rocket scientist as a prosecutor. If you tracked her record, I just can't. It's hard to get your hands around her and her office literally taking all of Trump's properties and becoming a landlord in New York City. They can barely do the job that they do now. This case against him is absurd. I mean, but we could go through other cases because I've been following her career a bit. So that's a possibility that she backs off and she gives him more time, or she lets the appeal process works, because her options aren't so great. Trump could literally just say, here are the keys, figure it out. And she will be spending the next 2 years trying to figure out which part of which buildings he owns when you go through the subleases and leases and the various limited partnerships. It's a very complicated mess. Trump generally doesn't own a lot of the land under these buildings. He owns pieces of them. A lot of the pieces that he owns are they have mortgages, so the banks have first lien on them. So, he could do that. Say, take it. It's yours. And try to figure out why we appeal this.
On that note, Charlie, as I've thought about this and tried to understand the legal side of what could happen tomorrow, it's actually unlikely that anything happens on the real estate front because it would require Letitia James to file a lien, execute that lien. As you point out, there are so many other stakeholders, including banks, on most of these properties that have to go to court and see who's first in line. But the one thing she could do, Charlie, tomorrow is she could freeze bank accounts. So his access to cash. His access to cash could be immediately impacted. So what does that mean? I mean, that affects campaign, business, everything.
I'm assuming she would need a court order to freeze those accounts. She can't just do that unilaterally, and who knows what a judge will say. I mean, are they going to say, Trump, you can't live? Because you're Donald Trump. You need access to cash. The banks tried to do that to him once too. They put him on some sort of like an allowance early in his career when he had faced massive financial problems in the early 1990s. I was just starting out in business journalism. I remember covering him. So the banks put him on a leash. The other thing is Truth Social, and that's kind of interesting because, if you read the Truth Social filing documents, he can't touch the money that he has right now for 45 days. Now, theoretically, I guess the board could come in of Truth Social and, they are, obviously they wouldn't be doing business with him if they didn't like him. The board could come in and say, we'll let you sell some of your stock. That would open up the board, though, to litigation, because once he sells his stock, let's just say he sells 500 million of the 3.4 billion that he owns, that's a big chunk of change. The stock is going to go down. That would open the board up to tremendous amounts of shareholder litigation, because this stock is now it's almost doubled in the last 2 months after having a horrible stretch. And the stock we're talking about is Digital World Acquisition Corp, which bought or is merging with Truth Social. So there's not a lot of great scenarios for him either. But this is a mess. And, when it really comes down to it, it comes down to a very stupid case by Tish James. She literally went and an absurd judgment by this Democratic hack judge. I mean, they literally sat there and said, Donald Trump bloviated on a loan application that the bank didn't trust anyway. So they did their own due diligence.
Right.
And somehow the bank, he's committed bank fraud where there's no victim. It makes no sense.
I like how you described it as a stupid game because we're talking about the stupid prizes you win by playing stupid games. Good luck with your new real estate holdings, Letitia James, which is probably not going to end up her prize anyway. Neither will Donald Trump. Charlie Gasparino, great to see you this morning. Thank you.
You got it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.